Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, in partnership with Lay of the Land, where we take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel. We do this every Monday to Thursday, so if you want your news from Israel hot off the press that you might not see in the media in your country, then the Israel Brief is your one-stop shop. So welcome to our community. We have people here from all around the world, including Northern Ireland, Sweden, South Africa, Australia, Germany, all over the world, Saudi Arabia, and we're delighted to have you here if you are new to the Israel Brief. It is day 354 since the 7th of October, which saw Israel launch Operation Swords of Iron, war with Hamas. And over the last couple of days, Israel has been engaged in Operation Northern Arrows, which is the massive escalation that we are seeing on our northern borders. So how did it all start? On the 8th of October, Hezbollah, backing up Hamas and acting as Iran's proxy, started to fire thousands of rockets and drones into the territories of northern Israel. And after now almost a year, Israel has decided that enough is enough. The situation cannot continue. And while we don't want this war, we haven't asked for this war, we will do whatever we need, whatever is necessary to move Hezbollah off our northern border. In fact, Hezbollah are in violation of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701, which clearly states, out of the many things, two very important facts. First of all, Hezbollah must not be armed. And second of all, they need to stay north of the Litani River, the Blue Line. Now, why do I keep reiterating it? I keep reiterating it because this is a clear violation of international law. And the international community, starting with the Lebanese government, the United Nations, their peacekeeping forces in Lebanon, UNIFIL, the United Nations interim forces in Lebanon, have done nothing to ensure or to enforce Resolution 1701. Yesterday, Israel's Foreign Minister, Israel Katz, wrote to the United Nations Security Council saying that they need to implement 1701. This is a clear violation, and no other country in the world would stand for its citizens facing bombardment after bombardment after bombardment. As we stand currently, about 63,000 Israelis have been forced to flee from their homes since the 8th of October and remain evacuated. So let's take a look at some of the developments over the last 24 hours. Yesterday, shortly after the Israel Brief, Hezbollah, for the first time since 2006, fired long-range missiles, about 10 of them, towards the center of Israel. In fact, they were quite close to where I am, and I could actually hear the booms yesterday. Some of the rockets were fired towards the West Bank, and shrapnel from two rockets seriously injured two elderly Palestinians who were evacuated safely to hospital. But we have seen serious escalations overnight. Last night, the IDF saying that what they struck yesterday was just a promo, and they intend to keep at it until the Hezbollah are forced back. So this is what we know. We know that in the last couple of days, the IDF have struck in excess of 1,600 Hezbollah targets. Yesterday and today, in his operational update, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, he is the senior spokesperson for the IDF, showed images of where Hezbollah is stockpiling their weapons inside people's homes and using those homes as launch pads. The IDF have been reiterating time and again, even managing to do so through the radio systems in Lebanon and sending texts to people's phones. For anybody who is near areas where Hezbollah is active and are stockpiling weapons, please to evacuate away. And what you are seeing in the media are large streams of Lebanese evacuating to the north of the country away from the combat areas. What we have also seen, when we have seen footage of the blasts to targeted area, are secondary blasts, which show that the weapons are stored in people's homes and apartment blocks. Last night, Prime Minister Netanyahu addressed the people of Lebanon, and what I found very interesting is he did it wearing a red tie to show that we have no quarrel, we want no harm to come to the people of Lebanon. And he appealed to them, please, Israel's war is with Hezbollah, it is not with the people of Lebanon. Please evacuate. Please do not allow yourselves to be used as human shields, and evacuate as safely and as far as possible. The Lebanese Health Ministry just a short while ago said that over 500 people had been killed as a result of the bombardments, and over 1,000 injured. Now, we don't have a breakdown of how many Hezbollah are included in that casualty number. We do know that about 40 are women and children, and we don't want this. We want, if anybody from Lebanon is watching here, please move away from the combat areas. Last night, it was believed that Hezbollah's second in command, Ali Karaki, was killed in a precision strike on a target in Beirut. According to Hezbollah, he had been moved to safety. There were other reports that he had been injured. Hezbollah is continuing to fire on Israeli civilian areas. Just a short while ago and last night, the city of Haifa, the third most populated city in Israel, has been the target for rocket attacks by Hezbollah. Rocket attacks have also continued in the towns of Afula, Nazareth, a very, very holy city for Christian people. We know that Hezbollah have also driven away Maronite Christians from their villages in parts of Lebanon as well. So when you understand the dynamics, you understand that Hezbollah is also holding hostage the people of Lebanon. Very interesting scenes coming out from Syria and from Druze villages across Lebanon. People not allowing Hezbollah operatives who are trying also to escape to northern areas into their towns and villages. For the Syrians, they don't forget that Hezbollah was part of Assad's massive assault on them, and how Hezbollah also raped, murdered, and held women as sex slaves. So the feeling for many in the Middle East is that Israel is doing the region a favor by getting rid of Hezbollah. A US official speaking to CNN last night says that he believes that Israel has set Hezbollah back at least 20 years. Now, there have been some reports in the Hebrew media here as well saying that we have destroyed about 50% of Hezbollah's stockpile. However, there are other officials cautioning not to make these kinds of speculations. We are still in a very, very intense phase, and we need to ensure that Hezbollah's long-range capabilities are effectively destroyed. So this is the situation as it is unfolding here. The Home Front Command guidelines area has also been expanded in Israel. Schools are closed as far as the southern Golan and the Galilee, Haifa, areas like Yokneam, the Carmel, and surrounds. Where I am in Modi'in, for the most part, we are largely unaffected, apart from yesterday's very, very close call. Our Home Front Command guidelines have not been altered, neither have guidelines for the city of Tel Aviv. So for the moment, it is contained to the north. However, there have been strikes on people's homes. Footage from a dash cam earlier today showing a rocket the impact on the road where cars were traveling. You could actually see, as the sirens went, cars pulling over for safety, their occupants diving on the tarmac for cover, and the impact of that rocket onto the road. As I'm speaking, I'm seeing the red alerts coming in for areas around the north. So the situation is extremely volatile. This is where we are at the moment. Again, the army reiterating that civilians please need to move north for their safety. We will continue to update you on the situation in the north. This is the focus at the moment. And now I will take your audience questions. It's a lot of information coming in for me, a lot of information for me to remember. So deep breath, and let's take your audience question. And it comes from David from Johannesburg, who says, I think that Sky News is worse than the BBC. Can they be investigated? Well, that's a very interesting question, David, and thank you for asking that, because I have seen Sky News being absolutely diabolical on social media, especially in the last 11 months. I think the reason why the BBC was so easily investigated is because they are a public broadcaster and they are publicly funded, and the public have a right to know how their funds are being used and if the BBC are in violation of their codes of conduct. In this case, the Assassin report found that the BBC had violated their code of conduct and their code of impartiality over 1,500 times. Now, Sky News is not publicly funded, but we have noticed that their reporting is extremely biased. So what I would call on people to do is to complain to Ofcom, that is the British body that monitors broadcasts. Complain to Sky News and just keep challenging them whenever you see them reporting something that is a biased stance, or that their reporters are condescending or biased. I mean, for me, some of the standout events were Kay Burley rolling her eyes when she filmed herself speaking to her producer, as they do every morning, walking onto set. And when she was told that she'll be speaking about the hostages, she rolled her eyes. Another standout is Dominic Waghorn, who today wrote an article saying that, provoked Hezbollah might be forced to use its firepower. Well, what have they been doing for the last 11 months, Dominic? He also was under the impression that hostages are treated humanely in the Hamas captivity. And the most recent standout for me was Trevor Phillips interviewing President Herzog just 2 days ago, and his extremely condescending tone and obnoxious questions to the president, who fielded them off. So those are our top stories today. And as we focus on the north, I ask everybody please not to forget the 101 hostages that still remain in captivity in the Gaza Strip. As world leaders, as I'm sure the United Nations General Assembly, which gathers this week, focuses on the situation in the north, let's remind the world not to forget about 101 hostages now held for 354 days. Guys, that's it for me, from me for today. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is at The Israel Brief. We're on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks. There are a lot of moving parts at the moment. Several airlines have cancelled their flights here. The US authorities are asking US citizens to evacuate Lebanon as soon as they can. It is a situation that is rapidly changing. And here at the Israel Brief, we will keep you updated as much as possible on the situation, both in the north with Operation Northern Arrow and in the south with Operation Swords of Iron. Guys, thank you for your prayers, for your messages. Keep them coming. Love to you all. And don't forget, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye for now.